Broccoli cheese soup sounds like such a good idea. It's a beloved combination that works to top your potato or sit beside some roast chicken. But when it's pureed into soup, it often loses its flavor and color in the process. I'll show you how to cook the broccoli to develop its flavor and soften its texture, as well as how to bring bright green color back to the soup.
By the way, this lesson is from our Classic Soups class, out now on ATK Classes on the America's Test Kitchen app. In this class, you'll learn some great tips for building flavor and texture in your soup. We'll take a look at equipment and ingredients you'll want to have on hand, and you'll learn the best and safest ways to store and reheat soup. Then you'll put your skills to work pureeing and seasoning your way through some classic soups. Learn at your own pace and have fun while you do it. But first, let's make some soup.
Broccoli has two distinct parts to it. It has a sturdy stem that holds the plant up, and it has the more tender florets that are flower buds. This means it's kind of like having two vegetables in one, and we're going to have to treat them differently. So to start with, I'm going to take off the florets at the top. So we want our florets to be in 1-inch pieces. This is important because we need them to cook at the same rate. And the way that we cut the stems and the way that we cut the florets is going to make it so they can all go in the pot at the same time. So I'm going to use a ruler just to measure my first one, so I get a nice 1-inch piece. So I'll cut it in half. This is just going to be my sample. That is a 1-inch piece. I'm going to put it right up there so I know what 1-inch pieces look like, and then I'll go through the rest of these. I like to keep a sample in front of me because it's so easy to forget how big an inch is, and it is really important that they stay the same size. So I'm going to keep that piece right there in front of me for reference. So I'll keep going until all my florets are in 1-inch pieces. So I have some broccoli dust here, but I don't want this to go to waste because this also can add flavor to our soup. So I'll use a bench scraper and add it to our bowl. Now it's time to work with the stock. The first thing I'm going to do is have a look at this dry end here. This is how it looks in the supermarket. I'm just going to trim off this little dry piece and put that away. And now we need to peel our broccoli stalk. I have a Y peeler here, and I'm going to just take the outside peels that are going to be rough and add sort of a different texture. The peels will have a hard time breaking down, so I'm just going to get rid of them to reveal the softer core inside. We're cutting these into 1/4-inch coins so that they'll cook at the same rate as our 1-inch florets. I'm going to check our 1/4-inch slice just to make sure that it's a 1/4 inch so I can use it as a reference, just like I did with the floret. We'll leave our 1/4-inch slice up there and have the rest of them at that same size. Yes, indeed. And then I'll do the same with the rest of the 2 pounds of broccoli. Broccoli soup can be dull and stodgy, but ours is going to be bright and vibrant and delicious. We're going to start with 2 tablespoons of butter melted over medium-high heat in a Dutch oven. The broccoli isn't the only flavor we're going to have in our soup. We also have some aromatics like garlic and onion. We have a little bit of cayenne pepper. We're going to put it all in the pot without any liquid in it yet so that we can use the high heat to extract the flavor. This is going to give us a strong flavor base for our soup. Our butter's melted, so I can start building flavor. I'm going to start with an onion. This is 1 onion, rough chopped. It's okay because it's all going into a blender. We're making soup, so don't be too fussy about how exactly your onion looks. I've also minced up some garlic. This is 2 cloves of garlic. We minced them up so that we could have the largest surface area of garlic to extract the most flavor in a short amount of time. Then I'm adding a pinch of cayenne. That's going to toast in the butter and give a nice little flavor balance in our soup. And I have 1.5 teaspoons of dry mustard. This is going to be a really nice savory backbone. You might think broccoli and mustard don't go together, but mustard is an ingredient here. 1.5 teaspoons in soup is going to really heighten it. And lastly, I have 1 teaspoon of salt. And the star of our show. Here comes our 2 pounds of broccoli. Remember when we cut them all to the same sizes? Well, here they come. Everybody in the pot together. We're going to stir you around. We're using the heat to extract flavor. Remember that once we add liquid to here, the whole thing stays just a little bit above 200 degrees. So we're using the hot pot first to extract flavor out of these, and then we'll cool it down by adding liquid. Now, we don't want to brown our vegetables here. We want to soften them. So it's important to stir it every now and then. Keep it moving. We just want to cook this till it's fragrant, and that should take about 6 minutes. I am super happy with what's happening in this pan right now. The broccoli florets and the stems seem to all be breaking down at relatively the same speed. We've used the heat to extract some of the flavor, and now I'm going to add some water. I'm using a cup of water here, and then I'm going to add a surprise ingredient. This is a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. This baking soda is going to change the pH of the water, and it's going to help these vegetables break down quicker. That means that our soup is not going to be stodgy, and it's not going to be overcooked, because the baking soda, just a 1/4 teaspoon, so it won't give any off flavor to the soup, but the 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda will break these guys down. That means our soup doesn't get overcooked and stays fresh and green. I brought our vegetables to a simmer. Now I'm going to turn it down to medium-low. We want to keep it at just a simmer and cover it for about 20 minutes. I'm going to go in once and stir it about halfway through. It's been 20 minutes, so let's have a look. Make sure it's nicely broken down. Oh, yes, it is. All right, we're using 2 cups of chicken broth here. You could also use your own homemade stock, or if you like to keep it vegetarian, use vegetable broth. And then I'm going to add 2 cups of water. This half and half combination gives us a lot of flavor without giving us a lot of meatiness. I'll turn up the heat to medium-high and bring this to a simmer. My soup has come up to a simmer now, and as you can see, it's gotten a little dull because it's cooked for 20 minutes. So I'm going to give you a tip about how you can make your green soups green. I have 2 ounces of spinach here. Since this has come to a simmer, I don't really want to cook the spinach. I really just want to wilt it because we're using it for color. There's a little vegetal flavor in there, but mostly it's just for color. So I'm going to put this in for less than a minute until it just wilts. The pot looks so much greener already, it's not even pureed yet. Let's turn this off. Our spinach is wilted, and it's time to get blending. We like to blend our soups half at a time. By overfilling the blender, we would make a mess, and also the soup on top would barely touch the blades, while the soup on the bottom might become over pureed. So let me just get about half of this in, and we'll move over to the blender. We've talked a lot about the broccoli, but this is broccoli cheese soup. So let's talk about the cheese. We're using 2 different types of cheese here. I have 3 ounces of shredded sharp cheddar and 1.5 ounces of grated Parm. The cheddar adds a mildly cheesy flavor, but it also adds texture to the soup. Parmesan has a salty, savory flavor that's really going to enhance the cheesy flavor of the cheddar. We want to blend our soup as efficiently and safely as possible. So I'm going to take the center out of my lid, make sure it's a nice tight-fitting lid. I'm holding a kitchen towel tight over this lid. The porous towel will let the steam out, but keep my hands safe from any splatters. We'll puree this until smooth, and it'll take about a minute. There's a minute. I'm just going to empty this into a bowl, blend the other half, and combine them back in the Dutch oven. Now that we're all together in the pot, I'm going to turn the heat to medium and bring it up to a simmer. We don't want to cook it anymore. We're just going to heat it back up. At this point, you have a decision to make. You can adjust the consistency of the soup with up to a cup of water, and it just depends on personal preference. Some people like a much thicker soup, and some people like it a little bit thinner. So I'm going to just add about 1/4 cup of water to mine because I want to thin it down a little bit. I like that consistency. We've spent all this time making our soup, but we don't know if it's quite right until we taste it. So I'm just going to take a little scoop of it here. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, a little pepper. Try this one more time. Nice. That is just perfect. It's time to serve it up. And just one last step. I'm going to sprinkle a little Parmesan over the top and see what we made. Fresh flavor, bright color, broccoli forward, cheese forward, broccoli cheese soup. The best pureed soups have a silky, creamy texture that can only be achieved by fully cooking the vegetables. Sometimes they need a helping hand, and baking soda can be the key. And who needs cream when you have 2 cheeses adding richness and nutty flavor? Not this soup.
Now that you know how to make a cheesy broccoli soup, you're ready to take the next step. And with ATK classes, you'll get access to a wide variety of lessons filled with masterful techniques, helpful videos, and step-by-step photos. From knife skills in making hand-rolled pasta to baking and frosting incredible cakes, and so much more. Download the America's Test Kitchen app and start learning with ATK classes today.